Well, what's up again there, guys? Brian here, the Three Topics Gamer here to share with you a rather interesting requested topics list video to share with you guys today. But one of my viewers threw out a funny idea to me. Now, I'm a big fan of redheads. I personally find that redheads are probably the most attractive women on this planet. And one of my viewers, going by the name of, I think you go by Slayer Nice 7 Red Guilties, said, well, why don't you do a top 5 video of your favorite redheads in video games? And I'm surprised. It was one of those ideas that I love so much. I was like, why haven't I done this before? So yeah, I want to thank you, Slayer, for coming up with this idea. And remember, if you do happen to enjoy this video by the end, please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to track me on my future videos. Remember, if any of you guys have any ideas for any top 5 rankings or discussions or tier list style videos, please let me know what you'd like to see, and I will try to get it up as soon as, I'll try to get it up as soon as I can. Heck, maybe someone wants me to do my favorite video games and blondes or one day or something. So, I have 5 of them. Some characters are going to surprise some people, and some characters you may not even heard of or even remember. So, yeah, I'm going to start off with number 5 on my list. And number 5 on the list is going to have to go to Aloy from the Horizon franchise. I would put her higher because I think Aloy has definitely started to build her reputation as being one of the predominant iconic PlayStation characters, and she stands out that she's one of the main female ones, along with Ellie from The Last of Us, even though I'm not a fan of Ellie. But the reason I have to put her at the bottom spot is simply because I didn't really like her very much in Horizon 2, Forbidden West. She was much more likable in Zero Dawn. But for some reason in the second game, she just got a lot more bitchy. I mean, and very impatient, and more bloodthirsty. And I kind of just didn't like her character at that point. I mean, she was like just flat out threatening people. I mean, I understand maybe she was under like a lot of stress. Maybe she'd been through a lot in the first game. But I really didn't. I didn't really enjoy a lot of her behavior, a lot of characters that she encountered in the game. I mean, there was this one moment that really kind of like put me off her, where like she was threatening to murder a guard for him just doing his job. Like she wanted to get through like a gate, and he's like, "Well, it's my job to not let anyone through the gate," and then she like threatened to murder him. And I was like, why are you threatening this guy? Like, he's just doing his job. I mean, you eventually got through the gate if you just talked to a couple other people, but I wasn't a fan of her behavior. Now, again, her look, she's a total badass. She can handle herself in her fight. She easily has probably one of the greatest collection of weapons, almost. I was going to say matching Ratchet and Clank, but no, I think Ratchet and Clank has a much better collection of weapons. And I'm pretty sure we're going to get a third game. Hopefully, maybe it'll come out during this generation. Maybe it'll come out in the next generation, depending on when the PlayStation 6 comes out. But yeah, there's no question she's easily one of the best redheads that we've had in a while. But again, maybe they should improve her character, make her a little bit likable in the next game. And heck, if I do this list again, maybe she'll go up a little bit more. But as it stands right now, she's going to take the number 5 spot on my list. Going into number 4, we're going to go into the Metal Gear Solid franchise, and I have to go with Meryl. Meryl makes her first appearance, I believe, in Metal Gear Solid 1. She kind of sneaks in to Shadow Moses. She teams up with Solid Snake. She gets heavily injured from Sniper Wolf at some point and then has to be rescued. And then she makes her appearance again in Metal Gear Solid 4. And she's now like in a commanding position. And she kind of is a little, I mean, she's very dominating. And I think that was good. You definitely saw that there was a massive improvement with her character between Metal Gear Solid 1 to 4. You could definitely see that she had grown as a character. I just think that we just didn't get enough time to spend with her. And she ended up marrying Johnny, which I totally did not see that coming. But to be fair, Johnny does step up at the end, so that's just kind of one of those moments that I never would have expected would happen, because Johnny has always been treated as a comedic character. So for him to actually have a moment where he does become a total badass and he marries, one of the most badass soldiers in Metal Gear, I thought was a real surprising. But it does make Meryl a very, very good character, very endearing. It's a shame we only ever got to see her in 2 games, but a lot of characters are treated that way. But she's definitely one badass soldier and well worthy of being in my top 5 favorite redheads in video games. So that's why I would put her in the number 4 spot. Going to number 3 spot, we have to go to Resident Evil, and there's only one primary redhead that stands out in Resident Evil, and that is Claire Redfield. Claire Redfield is probably, in my opinion, the ultimate survivor. There was a line that Leon said to Claire in Resident Evil Degeneration that perfectly sums up her characters. Leon and Chris are fighters, while Claire is a rescuer. She's not the kind of person that actively goes out seeking trouble, but she's the kind of person that if someone's in trouble, she will step up to the challenge. She can handle herself in almost any kind of fight, and very few times has she ever actually needed someone's help to get out of a tricky situation. And because of that, this makes her easily one of the most formidable Resident Evil characters of all time. Now, would I put her on the same level as like a Jill or a Chris or a Leon? Probably not. I don't think she's quite on their levels, but she's done enough, and she certainly has the reputation of being one of the most definitive survivor and like well-rounded characters that Resident Evil has ever had. I mean, there's, you got to really hold your own when you're the little sister of Chris Redfield, who many consider to be the face of the franchise, and she's done it very well. She's had several appearances across multiple great games. She's been a well-rounded character. She's done a number of great feats, and not just the games, but in the movies as well. And overall, she's just truly endearing. She has a well-played, legendary reputation of being one of the best Resident Evil characters of all time, and it is very well deserved. She doesn't feel overpowered or useless. She can stand her own, and that's why I like her so much. I would even say she's probably either my favorite female Resident Evil character or number 2 under just Jill. But heck, there's a lot of female babes, but she's definitely in the top tier in that group, which is why she takes number 3 spot on my list. Going into number 2 is going to have to go to a character that I'm positive 90% of you people that are seeing this have never heard of or don't remember. But my second favorite redhead in gaming history, without question, has to go to Lucia from Devil May Cry 2. Now, Devil May Cry 2 gets dumped on a lot, and I don't think it's deserving of that, because Devil May Cry 2, in my opinion, is a solid game that does a lot of good things. In fact, it did a lot of good things that were better than even Devil May Cry 3 and 4. And there were even some elements of Devil May Cry 5 that took inspiration from Devil May Cry 2. And the fact that I'm the only person that gives Devil May Cry 2 credit for coming up with these ideas and certain gameplay elements is a testament to how much I respect that game. It's not perfect, but I don't think it's awful. And I think that Lucia is probably one of the most underrated characters that I don't think gets enough attention. Now, Lucia was a creation of Marius, who was raised by a collection of kind of devil hunters. And like Dante, she also can transform too. But what makes her very sexy to me is not only is she a redhead, but she's French. And French have very sexy accents. And she can hold her own in a fight. I mean, she's tough. She goes through quite a lot in Devil May Cry 2 and deals with a number of extremely powerful bosses. And I do believe she makes an appearance in a comic book series of Devil May Cry. But it's just a shame that she's only had one real main appearance. I would love for Lucia to make a comeback and get more attention, because she is, without question, in my opinion, my favorite female character in Devil May Cry. And I think she deserves more respect than she's been given, which is why she's going to take the number 2 spot on my list. Now, going into number 1, this wasn't really all that hard to think about, because when I look at all of the primary 4 characters, they're all great. But there's only one character who is not only a sexy redhead, she has a badass look, she has a sweet personality when she's not fighting, and she's the only redhead that's actually in a game that is in my 10 out of 10 club, and that's a very, very elite class, and it's actually in my favorite PlayStation 4 game of all time in the form of Persona 5 Royal. And now that I've said it, I'm sure you know who I'm talking about. My all-time favorite redhead in gaming, without question, has to be Kasumi from Persona 5 Royal. Now, when I played the very first Persona 5, I absolutely loved it. I thought it was great, and I actually ended up romancing Makoto. And she was great as Makoto in Queen. She was very, very smart, awesome. But when they did Royal and they introduced Kasumi, woo, man, this woman was, man, she's a looker. And what's crazy about her design is she kind of looked like she was made perfectly to go with Joker. I mean, their outfits look so in sync, and I love how out of all the characters, because all the characters have special like tag team attacks, she has one with Joker that is by far my favorite tag team attack of all time. Now, Kasumi is kind of like a new student that appears. She's a dancer, she's a gymnast, she has a sweet personality, and she goes through a lot in some of the extended content that Royal introduces. But boy, she's a strong person. I mean, she's the perfect example of a sweet soul that is very, very tortured, but rises up to the occasion and becomes one of the most powerful characters in the game without question. And that's something that I think the other characters don't quite elevate themselves too much. I mean, I think of Aloy, and I think of Claire, and Meryl, and Lucia, and they all develop themselves very, very well, but none of them, I think, are to their core sweet characters, sweet, nice characters that are put in bad situations for which they have to break out of their shell and turn into total badasses. And I think, for me, that's a key aspect of Kasumi's character that stands out and puts her, in my opinion, above all others. So, yeah, that is why I have no shame in saying that Kasumi from Persona 5 Royal is my favorite redhead in video games. Now, if you want, I would love to know, what are some redheads that you absolutely are in love with in video games? Please share your list, or just share me your overall favorite redhead in gaming in the comments down below. And like always, thank you guys for watching. You're awesome, and I'll catch you guys next time.